I think 3 might be Once Upon a Time's magic number because I've noticed stories for Once Upon a Time tend to drop in groups of 3. Now, they generally don't drop in the same day, but they will drop in the same 24-hour cycle, which I think is funny. But I like when stories tend to cluster together because it allows me to make a longer video, have different parts, and it also allows for a fun discussion in the comments below. So the first part of the video is discussing episode 6 title, which is called Wake Up Call. And it's written by Jerome Schwartz and Jane Espenson. Classic writers, and I'm really excited that these guys are working on the show still. They're really good writers. I think Jane Espenson still has to work on her balancing, but overall, I'm very confident that she's writing Wake Up Call. Now, the title is really interesting because I'm really curious if Wake Up Call will be when Henry, Regina, Ronnie, and Hook and Rumple, and maybe Diana Ramirez and Cinderella, if she's cursed, they will actually wake up. In my top 5 ideas for Once Upon a Time Season 7, I said, do not prolong Henry's memory loss. I didn't think that Regina, Hook, and Rumple would have memory loss, but if they do, obviously don't prolong theirs as well. So if Wake Up Call is synonymous to waking them up and having them realize what's been happening, that's cool. And at least we know that the memory wipe won't have lasted for a whole 6 episodes. You know, back in season 3, when Zelena did her curse, or when she modified Snow White's curse, they only lost about a year of their memories. Yeah, a year of time was wiped from the memories. But the curse was lifted, I think, 6 episodes. I believe the episode, which was a New York Serenade, was episode 12. And I believe in, it's not Easy Being Green. It was episode 19, which I'm blanking on its title. Is when but it was episode 19. It was episode 19 when their memories came back. So 7 episodes after trying to, scramble and get their memories back. So I'm glad that it's kind of synonymous of season 3 part B in the terms of getting their memories back quicker. And also because this is season 7 and it's a reboot, we don't want our characters to walk around blind, deaf, and dumb. So even if they need to walk around blind, deaf, and dumb, best in the beginning and not at the end, because that would not be smart writing in my opinion. But anyway, I'm excited for this episode just because I really do like these writers. Season 7, we've lost a lot. We've gained a lot, but at the same time, the gains, I think, don't outweigh the losses. So, to have essentially this nostalgic writing team come back is really good. I know Adam and Eddie are writing episode 1. I know that we have new writers for episode 5, which is Greenbacks. And I'm not particularly sure about 2 through 4 for who is writing them. But point being is, we have the showrunners doing, the main episode, the premiere, which is what they always do. And despite my issues with their business model, I do like their writing. And then again, with episode 5 for Greenbacks, I don't know who those writers are. But this is an excellent transition into the second story, which is we have another new actor cast, and his name is Kevin Ryan. Kevin Ryan is an Irish actor. He's done a lot of indie projects, and when I say indie, I don't mean he's worked on like the Dollywood market. I just mean smaller films, TV shows that aren't really well known to the United States. But one thing about Once Upon a Time, and the same actually will apply to Vladimir Ruzic, is because I looked him up. He is not super well known either. The show gives people a fan base. It's really good. It did that for Georgina Haig. It did it for Elizabeth Lail. It really allows for TV actors who haven't been working for a while, or new actors in general, because Once Upon a Time is a Disney property, and when you work for Disney, you're set. Like, it's really good. So it allows for them to get a fan base, slap it on their resume, and then they can do really well later in their career. So Kevin Ryan has been cast, and his episode is Greenbacks. Now, Greenbacks, as we are assuming, is the Tiana backstory episode, and Vladimir Ruzic will be in that episode. He's also going to be in the premiere. Now, we don't know who Kevin Ryan or Vladimir are playing, but my assumption is, and I was originally thinking that Vladimir could have been either Naveen or been Facilier. But I do think now, just given the age of both actors now, because Facilier in Prince and the Frog, he's young. He's not as young as Tiana, who's roughly 18 years old. He's probably in his 30s. I wouldn't wager he's above 30 years old. But, it really gives me the inclination that Vladimir Ruzic is going to be playing Dr. Facilier, and then Kevin Ryan is playing Naveen. Now, Kevin Ryan, he's Irish, and I'm, part Irish myself. But Naveen was from Maldonia, and Maldonia screams Eastern European to me. And he is from European, but they never really did say where in Europe, the part of Europe Maldonia is located. But I'm really curious. I do think it's interesting that they're kind of lightening Naveen's skin a little bit, because Naveen, he does have a more Mediterranean complexion, and for any of us who are Irish, we do not. It's just not our gimmick. Also, I'm part Italian and Spanish as well. But Kevin Ryan, my guess is that he's going to be either maybe Cinderella's prince, but because he's in Greenbacks, that's his episode. My major guess is he's going to be playing Prince Naveen, and Vladimir Ruzic will be Dr. Vasilier. I mean, the show is great with kind of changing the natural way that things have been done, different interpretations. I mean, they made Merlin a black actor, which, is really, really progressive, and it was a great idea. The writing of Merlin wasn't good, but the progressiveness was great. So, if Vladimir Ruzic gets to be Dr. Vasilier, that's awesome, and, Kevin Ryan is Naveen, that's awesome, but maybe they're just different characters and we have no idea. But because all three, for the moment, are going to be in Greenbacks together, I think it's kind of safe to say they're the Princess and the Frog crew. And I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out, because I'm curious story-wise if Vladimir is Vasilier, if he's the one who helped Lady Tremaine cast the curse. So that's the second story. I'm really curious what you guys have to say about Kevin Ryan. Or do you think he's someone completely different? My guess is he's Naveen. I really, really think he's Prince Naveen, but he could be someone completely different. But I mean, this wasn't like trending or anything, but because he's so new, there's no reason for it to trend. I think if they got like a really big television actor, or if somehow they were able to pull off, big television actor being Stephen Amell, Jared Padalecki, because they're so popular on the CW. If they were somehow able to pull them off for like a cameo over at Disney, that would have been a bit more trending, a bit more headlining. But these guys are newer, so they won't trend. Anyway, unless unless they recast Elsa, that's trending, because it's either big characters or big actors. But new actors playing unknown roles, not gonna trend. It's not really super big for headlines, but when it's revealed who they are, the conversation will be a bit more enjoyable. So we were talking about Disney earlier in the video, and Scott Michael Foster wants to return to be Kristoff. Now, this is kind of it's not really news, because it's just an actor saying he wants to return, because I bet you money that Rebecca Mader would love to return as Zelena, because she loves that role. Like, it's obvious. She does the hashtags, oops, wicked, my pretties, all the time. It's really not news that Scott Michael Foster wants to come back. He probably likes being Kristoff, because Frozen is Disney's only canon animated film that has made $1 billion. Toy Story 3 made it fine, and Dory did it, but those are Disney properties, yes, but they are not Disney proper. Disney proper is, the 54 or 5 animated films that they've done. And Frozen is the only one that's made $1 billion. And that's if you don't count for inflation. If you inflated the dollar value of Beauty and the Beast or Little Mermaid, that could very well be $1 billion. But for the money directly, Hollywood doesn't like to do that, because then it's a whole issue with ticket prices and whatnot. But we're not discussing the movie math. We're discussing, Scott Michael Foster. So he wants to return as Kristoff. Now, it will never, ever happen, because Frozen's done. Frozen is done. I think Frozen, it should have returned for a cameo in season 6, possibly even season 5. I think season 5 with the Dark Swan, and season 6 at the end. I think Frozen coming back just for those little scenes would have been perfect. But I can't imagine Kristoff just coming back for no reason, because Kristoff is tied to Anna. He wasn't a breakout character. Like, you could bring Elsa back to the show. That's easy. But you don't have Emma anymore, because Elsa was really tied to Emma. The Frozen arc, as much as I loved it, it really isolated 99% of the main characters of Once Upon a Time, which is why I think people had major issues with it. And you just can't bring in Scott Michael Foster, because, he claimed to have this backstory with David, but Josh Dallas is gone. So you can't even do that. And he really didn't know Hook. So, again, it doesn't make any sense writing-wise to bring him back, unless they decide to bring the whole Frozen crew back, because they realize, oh no, there's no money. The show's on Fridays. Excuse me. The show's on Fridays, and we don't want to get canceled. Frozen could easily reignite, more interest in the show than anything else. It definitely reignited it. for season 4. It could be a saving grace for season 7, though I highly doubt John Lasseter and Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee want to allow their property to go back to television when they're working on Frozen 2, which is going to be coming out in 2019, which I am so excited for. But, you know, when you're a TV actor, you're always really looking for your next job, because if you're not a starring actor on a show, it's scary working in the business because you're not a big celebrity, you know, and you're not a movie actor. You know, if you're a movie actor who's a big actor, you know, Charlize Theron, Emily Blunt, Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, though Brad Pitt's more so doing behind the scenes as opposed to acting, but point's the same. So, you know, if you're a TV actor and you're just in guest starring roles, you're kind of concerned about your future because you only have, like, let's just say Adelaide Keene's only going to be in 6 episodes. Then she's done. Then she has to look for another job. But, you know, Lana Parrilla, Robert Carlyle, and Colin O'Donoghue, they have job security for at least this year because they're going to be, you know, main characters. And, you know, that's what you want as a TV actor. So Scott Michael Foster's thinking, maybe Disney will put me back as Kristoff because I'll get more, he will, you know, easily benefit. He'll get more attention. Then the show will get attention because, you know, Frozen characters coming back, it won't happen. But this is probably his thought process behind it. So I think it's interesting because when you work in the television market, or even the ancillary market, you know, for Netflix original shows, you know, you want to be a starring character because you know you're always at least going to be getting work for that year and you're getting a steady paycheck because that's the best market to work in Hollywood, in my opinion, because movies, you know, they go into production for, say, they take a while to edit because, especially like big blockbusters. But if you work on a movie, they take roughly 3 months at the most to film, unless something really bad happens, like on the new Mission Impossible film. They have to delay that production because Tom Cruise got hurt doing his own stunts, and there's a whole problem with that. But then, you know, Tom Cruise, he's a celebrity, but anyone else who's working on Mission Impossible that might be like a minor character, they might be thinking, I have to audition again for another job. Tom Cruise doesn't really audition. He just kind of does his next thing. There's no way he auditioned for The Mummy. So the point being is Scott Michael Foster is thinking, I need maybe a higher paycheck. I'm looking for something to boost my repertoire. And once upon a time, I was Kristoff. I was a character from a $1 billion movie. I got a lot of media attention back in 2014 when it was on. So maybe I should say that to maybe spark some headlines, and it really didn't spark any. I think if Georgina Hagg said, I'm coming back as Elsa in episode 2, that would trend. I think that would really trend because Frozen Fever, though it's not dead, it's still it's simmering, but it's going to instantly ignite come the trailer for Frozen 2. But that's the second story. He's just saying he wants to come back to the show. But Rebecca Mader could easily say she wants to come back, though I don't think she had the best ending, writing-wise, and I think she might have been kind of rudely asked to leave. Just from her tweets towards the end of 6, I think she was having some behind-the-scenes issues, but that's to be determined. Or never decided. Well, we never know. We never knew what happened with Alyssa Milano versus Shannon Doherty on Charmed. It seems to be amicable now, but that's because they're both older. Shannon's been really sick, and she doesn't really care about drama anymore. So drama on the set, you know, that's really never going to be revealed because that could ruin people's jobs. And last thing you want is having a job ruined. Or your career ruined. Well, that's your job. So point being is, actors can say, I want to work on this show, but saying I want to work on it will not make you come back to it. I mean, Diana Ramirez could have said years ago she wanted to be Tiana or Cinderella version 2, you know, back when Cinderella was on, once upon a time when it was Jesse Chasm, but no one's going to say boo to that. But again, because he was already on the show, he's saying he wants to return, but I've ranted too much about this. I love discussing behind-the-scenes business with Hollywood and television because it's such an interesting discussion. And I really can't wait to start my series where we will discuss the numbers of several TV shows that have aired in that week. You know, the week after they're done, all the numbers have come out. So anyway, we have Wake Up Call, which will be written by classic writers. That is episode 6. We have Kevin Ryan, who is going to be a new character airing on Greenbacks, probably Prince Naveen. I'm curious what you guys have to say. Do you guys think Vladimir Ruzic will be Facilier, or do you think he'll be someone else? Because he is not, you know, African American, but I think, would you guys have a problem with Facilier jumping? Granted, he's Canadian Vladimir, but I think he's of either Middle Eastern or Russian descent, which is pretty much the same thing, however you view Russia, because it's so big. So, point being is, would you guys care if he played Facilier, or do you think he's playing someone else? My guess is he's playing someone villainous. And what do you think about, just the television market in general. I think it's always interesting because I do think that actors really want to, have a steady job. Looking for your next job is not a fun thing to do, which is why Ellen Pompeo, super television, Jared Padalecki, super television, but they've been in these shows for, God, Grey's Anatomy's, I think in its 13th or 14th season, and I think Supernatural is going into maybe its 12th or 13th. They have steady paychecks for years. They're TV actors, that's who they are, but it's a living. And that's really what you want, because remember, these actors are making livings, and I'm really curious what you guys have to say about any other actors returning. Also, last thing to quickly discuss in the 16-minute video of Once Upon a Time. For properties that do not belong to Disney, such as anime, which is, roughly owned by the companies in Japan, Toei Animation, etc. Other comics, maybe DC. Marvel is owned by Disney, but we don't want to discuss Marvel coming into it. But for other fandoms that you guys are fans of, I'm really curious what you would like to see on Once Upon a Time. I, myself, would like to see the Sailor Moon characters. It's never going to happen, but because Sailor Moon is my favorite anime and other favorite show, I would love to see them come to Once Upon a Time, because I think that would be really, really cool. Personally, because I always kind of found Emma and Sailor Moon to have many, many similarities. So I'm really curious in the comments below, because I was going to make a video about this. I was going to do a Twitter poll, but I figured it made more sense to do a comments, and I'll just pull them off. We could, if you guys want to talk about it, we could talk about what fandoms should come to Once Upon a Time if they ever got bought by Disney. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate it. I believe a lot of you guys saw what was going on Snapchat. I was at a wedding this weekend. It was really fun. One of my best friends got married. It was fantastic. We had a really, really good time. I posted tons of photos on Instagram and Snap. So anyway, thank you all for following me as usual. I appreciate it, and thank you for watching this video, and we will have a great discussion in the comments below. All right, guys. Bye.